episode, I am going to be talking about trying a vampire LARP. Actually, I realized that I am wearing the wrong flower crown for this, so you'll excuse me for a moment. Now that is a more fitting flower crown for this episode. Flower crown. What you have just seen is a trailer for the LARP Nathan's Fortilinger, which is a Vampire the Requiem LARP and my character within. Vampire the Requiem and Vampire the Masquerade are two different game universes, though both games are designed by White Wolf. I'm gonna get right into this. So, even among LARPers, Vampire LARP has a very interesting reputation. They can often be treated like the edgelord in the back of the classroom, if that makes any sense. And so even though I've been LARPing for a few years now, I never actually tried Vampire LARP. There seemed to be this really visceral reaction to Vampire LARP, even among some LARP communities, so I began to question it. What I'd heard about Vampire LARP is that it's basically a lot of debauchery, and being a person who's pretty high up there, pretty high on the asexual scale, it didn't really sound like a wonderful time for me personally. But eventually I decided, why not? What do I have to lose? Pride? Can't lose what you never had. Who am I trying to impress here? So I decided to try out Convention of Thorns, a White Wolf game run by Jobok Studios in Poland. And long story short about Convention of Thorns, I had a great time. I got to be a flower-crowned alabaster badass. The costumes were incredible, the castle was beautiful, and all of the debauchery type roleplay, they had an entire floor just for that stuff. You could just walk right by that floor. You could pretend you don't even see it. Like a dog that's done something bad. In fact, I had such a great time at Convention of Thorns that I decided I wanted to play that character type again. You know, the immortal ingenue with an appetite for secrets. I love secrets. I also wanted to get a better feel for the vampire LARP scene in general, so I was looking for it, and that is when I had Nathan's Fortilinger recommended to me. I got an email saying that there was a game with a Viking vampire family who wanted to adopt me. It's just like, yes, please. I had no costume for this because I had just moved from California to Germany, but like magical German fairy godmothers, this company called Mytholon asked me if they could sponsor any part of my costume. So I said yes. I sent them a list and said that any one of these things would be helpful, and I would be happy to do a review because I've heard really good things about this company from my friends. And then they sent me the whole list. They sent me every single thing on that list. I'm gonna link everything I was wearing in the description because affordable store-bought garb is a godsend. The character's name is Sif. She is a brand new, fresh little baby vampire, and she just wants everyone to be friends. She's also got a couple of neural divergences because of the circumstances under which she was turned, so basically playing me as a vampire. Now, onto the game. I only really have 2 issues with these games so far, and they're both by White Wolf, so keep that in mind. Having said that, one of the issues is something that I've noticed with a lot of mechanics-heavy games, especially franchise ones that are, you know, multiple chapters all around the world. That issue is new character uselessness. It happens in a lot of games where in order to make a character useful, you have to be very powerful, as opposed to making them useful by being unique in some way. It kind of takes a balance of those things in mechanics-heavy games to make it work, but when the balance is off and it's more towards you have to be powerful to be helpful, it can result in maybe characters not being included in story for the first multiple games. They just end up being too underpowered and useless to actually help with any situations, and that's I'm sorry, you know what? It's not good design. I said it. What are you gonna do? Because being protected is great and heartwarming and fun, but being unincluded in things and then being like locked in a tower because you need protection because you're squishy and can't do anything, that's boring and frustrating.
I'll just be in my room making no noise and pretending that I don't exist.
That can totally be helped by designing your game so that characters could be a little more unique and they don't have to power up quite so much before they can start being helpful. For players, that can be helped by including newcomers actively, finding a reason to like or dislike them, finding a reason to help them make friends and enemies, doing something that pulls them into the game universe, like the actual events of your game. At least these are things that you should consider if you want new players to actually come back and have fun so that they can see how awesome your game universe is. I feel like I'm gonna start a fight on the internet. The second issue has to do with accessibility in a way. I mentioned earlier that I'm pretty high up on the asexual scale, like pretty high. What that means is that I am in with the group of people who really needs to be able to avoid certain themes. It needs to be avoidable somehow in order for us to play a game without having a bad brain time. So my issue here is that in the design document of this game, feeding, like drinking blood, like the thing that makes a vampire that every vampire has to do, is written as a sensual experience. Uh-oh, some trouble on the horizon for the SS asexual. Like, why do snacks have to give people adult feelings? Why? And no, that is not a question I want answered. I know you, internet. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. Put down the keyboard bongos. I don't want to have that discussion. I do not actually want to know why. You ever get so worried you sound like a seal? But everything else with adult themes in this game can be avoided pretty easily, actually. Surprisingly easily, so thumbs up there. So I decided I'm just gonna lestat this. This character, she's gonna drink the blood of forest animals, even though I like forest animals more than I like most people, and that hurts me a little bit. It's not a problem. It's no problem. It's no real problem. Until it was a problem. So at both Convention of Thorns and Nathan's Fortalinger, another player tried to use vampire hypnomagic to make my character participate in feedy shenanigans. Uh-oh! And both times it was totally a situation of, oh, you look bad. You should eat something. Take care of your undead body. You kid, you rascal. It wasn't meant to be creepy at all in any way. They just didn't realize what that meant in the context of this particular rule set. Somebody did totally stop it at Convention of Thorns, you know. You can't do that to her. You can't use hypnomagic on her. That flower-crowned idiot is our flower-crowned idiot. But at Nathan's Fortalinger, no such luck. Of course, you can always cut a scene in LARP whenever you feel uncomfortable, or for whatever reason, and no one should judge you for that. If they do, they're They're incorrect. Send them to me and I will eat them for breakfast. But if you're like me and those situations make you freeze up like a deer in some undead headlights, it's kind of too late at that point. Like, the bad brain time has been had then. So, might I suggest going back to the golden rule of emotional safety in LARP, check it before you wreck it. Designers, please consider not writing these particular themes into your games as a totally unavoidable, inescapable aspect of the universe. Please. Please. Especially if you're a super popular worldwide franchise, the most popular of which that exists. And players, if your game is written like that, then my dudes, my bros, please, don't use social hypnomagic to force characters into that kind of roleplay without checking with them first. Please. I know this game has been around a really long time. It's a really old game, and some people might not realize how outdated some aspects of it are. And that's okay. But I'm telling you now, consider yourself told. It's not a good look. It's not. We should ditch it. We should ditch it. Like frosted tips of the early 2000s. But now let's move on to the things I loved, because there are a lot of them, and I'm gonna put these chips down before I crush them with excitement. Aesthetics. The makeup, the costumes, the whole murder goth look that makes you feel simultaneously rock and roll and classy. Where else can you get that? Like, maybe at a wedding where it's like a rock and roll themed wedding, but they have like string covers of AC/DC to make it still feel classy. Like, that's that specific situation and Vampire LARP are like the only times you get to feel like that. It's awesome. Dark themes! You get to sit around and question your humanity, you get to have your moral integrity checked like every 5 minutes, and you can sit around and exchange dark secrets with your friends. I love secrets. Emotional indulgence. Now stay with me here. Most of the roleplay that I have seen in Vampire LARPs has been cathartic in the extreme. If someone does something you don't like, you can burst into tears in the middle of the room. You can ruin their reputation slowly with carefully placed rumors. You could literally eat them. You could start a vampire war. It's all a possibility in the world of Vampire LARP, friends. Get all those repressed emotions out of your system by being the most horrible emotional monster you've always wanted to be. I believe in you. Easy costuming requirements. You absolutely do not have to dress like an actual Viking to play this game. I'm just a lot of bit crazy. In fact, I was the one who stood out for wearing that stuff at the game, and that was a character choice. You can wear jeans and a t-shirt and a denim jacket. Fit right in. Amazing. No setting requirements. You don't need a castle to play this game. It's set in modern day. Vampires are varied. They have all kinds of lodging. Just a bunch of regular, everyday, undead, blood-sucking serial killers having sleepovers at each other's houses. Physical accessibility. Any kind of combat that I've seen in Vampire LARP, the system has nothing to do with your actual real-world physical capabilities. Anyone has the ability to crush anyone, and that's something I need more of in my life. Am I going to play more vampire games? Yes. I think they're great. I don't think every aspect of every game is great, but so far, my first thoughts, Vampire LARP. Not as advertised, and that's a good thing. So, let me know if you want me to make more videos about my journey down the Vampire LARP rabbit hole. We can go on this little adventure together. And because the subject matter of this video has had to do with my little Viking flower child, I am going to make another Viking flower child the featured LARPer of this episode. This is Pernilla of Ono Ono FX on Instagram. I really hope I said that right. I'm really sorry if I didn't, but it'll be spelt and I'll link to everything. Please forgive me. She's a makeup effects artist from Denmark who looks like a mermaid from space. That's what she actually looks like in real life. She does beautiful, clean work, and she brings so much to the aesthetics of every LARP she attends, and getting warm. And with that, We're done for this episode, my nerds. Thank you so much for watching. We love you, we cherish you, and if you have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts, if you would like to support us in any way, links in the description will be available for all of that. Could not do this without you guys, so thank you. You can also check out our actual website that is live now with a store and stuff. I'd like to take this moment to thank my Lord and Savior, Erica. Thank you for that. And as always, nerds, thank you so much for liking us, subscribing to us, and fighting with us. Fun fact, I have been dyeing my hair deep red since the very beginning of high school, which is incidentally when my little brother was born, and so when I told him that I am gradually going to go back to my natural hair color, which is blonde, he was very shocked. He didn't know that I was blonde. He just looked down at his hands, went silent, until he looked back up at me slowly and said, "Am I blonde?"